Ankita ma'am, please start program.
Okay, sir. So, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay, fine. So, be the change you want to see in this world. Very rightly said by Mahatma Gandhi. To make this event successful, with this note, hello everyone, and happy Independence Day. Good afternoon, namaste to all the dignitaries, hosts, and participants. A warm welcome from the side of today's event coordinator and moderator. I, Dr. Ankita Jain, MP State Secretary at Research Foundation of India, welcome you all with all joy. I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome on the inaugural of this program, that is an online classroom workshop on first-hand experience on SPSS Introductory Module, which is starting today from 16th of August to 22nd of August 2022. This would be a 7 days class. So we have the schedule starting from today. The topic would be Introduction to SPSS. Tomorrow we'll be looking after a topic on normality and reliability of data. On 18th of August, it would be chi-square test. On 19th, t-test, one sample. 20th of August, t-test independent. 21st of August, correlation and regression. And 22nd of August, the topic would be on ANOVA, one-way ANOVA. This session is organized by Research Foundation of India, Research Foundation of India CARE, sponsored by JHERF, World Virtual Conference Forum, World Federation of Science and Technology, International Research Guide Federation, Academic Research Guide Association, Edu Academic INC. Thanks. Before we start the session, I would like to give a brief introduction of RFI about Research Foundation of India. Research Foundation of India is strictly working for the social upliftment and higher education quality and Indian research promotions in the form of events like international national conferences, seminar, workshop, symposium, and other activities. RFI works for the integration of intellectual ideas across the globe to fulfill the first thirst of innovation of humanity. Research Foundation of India is concerned with improving the educational process by encouraging scholarly inquiry related to education and practical application of research results. Research Foundation of India is working for research and development for the higher education. It has signed MOU with top universities from India. RFI members are faculty, researchers, graduate students, and other distinguished professionals with rich and diverse expertise in education research. Research Foundation of India does not take any financial support from any of the government body. Research Foundation of India has organized more than 1,000 international conferences and workshops, faculty development program, etc., all over the world. Now, RFI has 87 chapters in India and 18 chapters in Asian and other countries, and categorized in 5 board: West, East, South, North, and Central zone. We have different dignitaries from Research Foundation of India: Dr. Saurabh Jain, Chairman and CEO; Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, Chief Managing Director; Dr. Reshu Jain, President; Dr. Priyadarshini Agnihotri, North-South Board President; Dr. Rajat Sharma, National Convener; Dr. Ajay Jain, National Coordinator; Dr. Manish Dubey, President, Central India Board; Shri Amit Chand, New Delhi, North Board India President; Dr. Devadatta Indoria, North Board India President; Professor Abhinesh, West Board India President; Dr. Sanjay Prasad, MP State President; Dr. Parul Shara, MP State Convener; Dr. Indra Dikshit, MP State Convener. Thank you. Before starting this session, I would like to invite Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta sir, CMD, Research Foundation of India, for his words of blessings. Respected sir?
Yes. Am
Sir,
I
please.
audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's session. This is Professor Dr. Ashok Kumar Gupta, MD RFI from NTPC Township, Korba, Chhattisgarh. I feel delighted to be invited to this inaugural session of Faculty Development Program on first-hand experience on SPSS Introductory Module. As we know that this is organized by Research Foundation of India and RFI-CARE in association with World Virtual Conference Forum, World Federation of Science and Technology, International Research Guide Federation, Academic Research Guide Association, and Edu Academic Alliance. The aim of this FDP is to provide the most complete and reliable source of information on the recent advancements in the field of first-hand experience on SPSS. This webinar covers a broad range of topics in this field. The National Education Policy 2020 has given a clear call for holistic value-based education to prepare our youth and develop our nation because education is fundamental for achieving full human potential, developing an equitable and just society, and promoting national development. RFI is working in this line. Now, it's my privilege and honor to welcome all the dignitaries, resource persons, and experts available for this activity. Thank you all for coming at such short notice. I really appreciate you all for attending today. My sincere thanks to Dr. Saurabh Jain, Chairman and CEO, Research Foundation of India. My special thanks to Dr. Ajay Jain and Team RFI for managing this wonderful session. I'd also like to thank the support of organizing and participating institutions, all the participants who are attending this session. And you may send the inquiry to info@researchfoundationofindia.com, and you can visit our website www.researchfoundationofindia.com for such other session. A recorded version of FDP would be available. Again, thanks to all for your support and dedication. Thanks a lot once again. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Chanchala Jain, ma'am, today's expert, master trainer, and research expert. I would like to introduce her with her participants first. So I would like to read her profile. Dr. Chanchala Jain is an author, research expert, and academician with an experience of more than 11 years in management and commerce as an assistant professor. She is a co-founder of Urja Counseling and Training, Indore. Presently, she is working as assistant professor in Prestige Institute of Management and Research, Indore. She is also the coordinator of IQAC at PIMR. As a research expert and trainer, she has conducted many workshops and faculty development programs on SPSS module and research paper writing. She has chaired and co-chaired various conferences. She has rich experience of more than 9 years in research, and with this, she has more than 40 research papers published in various Scopus national and international journals. She has also presented research papers in more than 15 conferences and won 4 Best Paper Award at JIMS Delhi, Pacific University, Udaipur, and Prestige Indore. 4 research scholars pursuing their PhD degree under her able guidance. She has also guided more than 500 students in their major and minor research projects. As an author, she has also written a book on crucial problem of our society, along with a co-author title as Atmahatya Kyun. We welcome you, ma'am. We are very privileged to have you here on this session today. I will request you to proceed with the session. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Ankita ma'am. Ma'am, please confirm me. Am I audible to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for the introducing me with the participants. Before proceeding with the session, I would like firstly to extend my sincere gratitude to Ajay Jain sir, Saurabh Jain sir, Ashok Gupta sir for giving me opportunity to conducting these sessions. So I think now, without wasting my time, I'm totally coming to the session. And before starting it, I am sharing my screen. Anyone please confirm me whether my screen is visible or not. Ma'am, screen is visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah, thank you so much, sir. Yeah. So now, before proceeding with the session, as you all are knowing, I'm going to take the session on SPSS Introductory Module. But before beginning with the session, I want to quote one very famous saying by the Aristotle. It says, "Tell me, I will forget. Show me, I will remember. And involve me, I will understand." So research is all about involving ourselves, because once we will involve ourselves, we would be able to understand the things in a better fashion. So that is why involvement is must to gain the knowledge of any particular field. So now with this, the agenda of the day, today I'm going to discuss little bit about the research. Then I'm going to discuss variables and the measurement scales. Then I'm going to discuss analysis, data analysis techniques, introduction to SPSS. And lastly, I'll discuss the rules of defining variables in SPSS. Firstly, I want to inform you that my pedagogy is the blend of conceptual part and the practical part. So firstly, I will introduce you with the concept of the SPSS and a little bit about the research. And then I'll move on the SPSS. So to show you how we can create the variable and how we can explore the other things in the SPSS. So this would be the agenda for the day today. So as I said, research is very important. What I can say, it's a very important ingredient of the academician life. Not only of the academician life, but also if any industry want to grow, they need to do the research on the daily basis. Because only with the help of research, they would be able to know the facts which are prevailing in the market. Similarly, if an academician want to grow or develop his or her knowledge, he or she must, what I can say, need to adopt research as an important tool, because research would help them to understand the prevailing scenario in the academics field. That way they would be able to understand what is going on, and that they can share with the students, and also they can write the research papers. That way they would be able to grow themselves in the academic fields. So firstly, I'm going to discuss about the components of the research study. So I think when we are writing a research paper, we all are knowing this thing. The very first component is the introduction. In the introduction part, generally what we are going to do, we need to introduce our title in this particular head. In title, we are generally introducing the keywords which are there in the title part. So introduction is the base of any research paper or any research study. After introduction part, we are moving for the literature review. Literature review is the essential aspect or part in any of the research study, because with the help of literature review, we would be able to see the past studies. We would be able to know what have been carried by the previous researchers and till where they have done the work. And then we would be able to find that now how we can carry the work ahead. So that way, literature review is always a very essential part of any particular research study. With the help of research, with the help of literature review, we usually in a position to formulate our objectives, because literature review always give us insights of the past studies. So with the help of that, we would be able to formulate our objectives. With the help of objectives, it would be very easy for us to formulate our hypothesis. And once we are done with the hypothesis part, now we need to decide what would be the research methodology we need to adopt to conduct the particular research study. Because research methodology is what? It is a kind of map before us. Means it will guide us on each and every part, that now where we need to move and how we need to move. So research methodology is the essential part of research study. After the research methodology part, now we need to decide upon how we are going to collect the data. So here you need to decide which data collection tool we are going to adopt here. With the help of data collection tool, we are collecting the data and then we are going for the analysis part of the data. So after collecting the data, here again we need to decide which particular data analysis tool we need to adopt, and it is depending upon your hypothesis and objective. And then with the help of that, we are interpreting the results and we are concluding the study, and we are also quoting the findings, and then we are giving the suggestions on the basis of the findings we have carried from the data analysis part. And then lastly, what you need to do, you need to write the limitations. Generally question comes why we need to cite or why we need to write the limitations. So limitations writing is very important in any research study, because if you are writing the limitation, that would give a clear picture to the reader of your article that what limitations or in what boundary you have completed that study, and your results are specific to what limitations. So that way limitations are always appreciable. We need to always write the limitations in the research study part. And lastly, we do not need to forget to quote all the references which we have taken for completing that particular research study. If we want to save ourselves from the plagiarism, so we always need to cite or need to write the references at the end of the study. So this way, these are the some of the generally used component in any research study. So the question comes why I am going to discuss, because the workshop is on the SPSS, but SPSS we are using for the data analysis part, and data analysis is the component or is the part of the research study. So for the purpose, I have only introduced here the certain components of the research study. Now, very important thing I'm going to discuss in the next slide. This is the kind of image I have taken. Can anyone tell me what you people are understanding with this particular image or this particular shape? Can anyone tell me?
From
Filtering of data.
Yes.
We should analyze.
Yes, very good, sir. So I think this is a kind of a funnel which I have taken here. This is, we can say this is a funnel of literature review. As I said, in any study, the literature review plays a very important role. If we want to understand what kind of research methodology is used by the previous researchers in any particular field, I always need to go to the literature review. If I want to see what kind of hypotheses have been formulated by the previous researchers, again, I need to go to the literature review. If I want to see what type of variables are used or were used in the hypothesis, so again, I need to go to the literature review. So that means on each and every part, even for the discussion purpose, once you would be able to draw the conclusions, able to draw your results, you always need to discuss your results in the context of the previous research study. So that way, literature review will always play a very, very important role in any research study. So that is why I have taken here literature review as a funnel, because with the help of literature review, we would be able to find the research gap. Again, you can see two terms are coming, extensive and exhaustive. Means you need to do the extensive literature review and exhaustive literature review to find this research gap. At least 30 to 40 papers we generally need to study if we want to write a quality research paper. With the help of that, we would be able to find the proper research gap. And once we would be able to find the gap, we would be able to formulate our research questions. And when we have our research questions, they will give birth to our objectives, and then objectives will help us to formulate our hypothesis. So once we are done with the hypothesis, now we will be move further for the data collection and the data analysis. So this way, it is known as the top to bottom approach. Now, talking about the variables. Again, when we will go for the data analysis, we need to very importantly understand the term variable. Variable, if I will ask from anyone, I think you would be easily able to define. Variable means which varies or which can take any value. It is known as the variables. So yes, in research, variables are such kind of things which can accept any particular value. They are known as the variables. Generally, there are various classifications of variable, but here from the SPSS point of view, I have only taken two categories of variables, that is the dependent and independent variables. So I think this particular equation is very well known to all of us. It is y equals a plus bx. I think we all have seen this equation in our 10th class, or even in the subsequent classes we have seen this particular equation. This equation is the straight line equation. Here we can say y is what? It is our dependent variable, x is our independent variable. So if I want to find the value of y, if x, a and b are known to us, easily we would be able to find the value of y. So that way we can say that y is what? It is dependent on x, because a and b are the fixed or the constant values. But the value of x will vary because it is an independent value. It can take any value, and according to the value of x, the value of y will vary. So that way this is known as dependent and independent variables. Now, some other terminology you can see here generally used in the research. Y is generally known as the outcome variable, and x is the predictor or the input variable. And in SPSS, generally, independent variable is termed as factor variable. So please make a note on this, that in SPSS, whenever you are looking at the particular box and factor is written there, that means it is demanding you to supply the independent variable. So factor is independent variable. Now, if I am taking one example here, so you can see, suppose being an academician, I want to see what are the variables which are affecting the performance of the students. So I think I can say the performance can be defined by the hard work and the intelligence, or I can say the performance is dependent upon the hard work put by the student and according to the intelligence level of the students. So maybe these two things can lead to the performance of the student. But question comes, how we can measure hard work and intelligence, because these are the qualitative terms. So in research, we need to define our variable in a proper way. That way we would be able to enter the values in any particular software, and we would be able to do the analysis. As SPSS is the quantitative type of software, so we need to firstly know this particular thing, that how we are going to define the hard work in terms of number. So say for example, I am saying I can define hard work in the terms of number of hours of study done by a student. Similarly, intelligence I can define with the help of the IQ score of the students. So with the help of this, I think we can easily understand now number of hours of study. That means this would be what? This would be in some number term, and similarly IQ score would be also in some number term. So with the help of this, we would be easily identify, or we would be easily measure the term or the performance of the particular student. But it is not like only these two variables can lead to the performance of students. There can be some other variables also. Maybe there are two more variables, and these are the gender and the SES, that is the social economic status of the students. So social economic status, question comes, how it can affect the performance. So maybe there can be some students, they have the what I can say, they have the privilege of getting some better facilities. Maybe they would be able to get some good tuitions. Maybe they are able to get some good books from the market because they are financially strong. So that way, that can also affect the performance of the students. Similarly, gender, I think we usually see whenever the results are declared of, for example, CBSE or MP board of 10th and 12th. So generally we are comparing, but that the female students have performed better than the male students. So that way we can say somewhere gender can also play a role on the performance of the students. So that way these two variables can also affect the performance of the students. But possibly we have taken only these two variables in the study and we have not considered these two variables. In such case, we can say they can be the moderators variable which are affecting the performance of the students. Now question comes, what is the meaning of moderator variable? So here you can see moderator is what? Moderator are those variables which are what I can say, moderating the relationship between the dependent and the independent variables. Means these are the third variable which are affecting the strength of relationship between the dependent and independent variables. So might be possible we are not considering these variables in the study, but still they would be present in the study and they would be affecting the relationship between these two considered variables which we have taken in our study. So this way, to understand the variables is very important, because only understanding the variable we would be able to identify which tool or test we need to apply. Because in upcoming days, when we are going to discuss the chi-square test, t-test, ANOVA, correlation and regression, we will see the nature of the variables. According to nature of variables, we need to decide which particular tool we need to apply on the variables considered. Now, one more example you can see here. There are two variables, salary and the designation. So maybe designation can affect the salary of the person, but might be possible there is a moderator variable, that is gender. So gender can also affect the relationship between the designation and salary. I think it is very quite evident in the prevailing situation or in the prevailing world, we can say that generally male are the good salary drawer as compared to the female employees. So that way we can say gender is also playing the important role in defining such kind of relationship. So that way this is the another example of dependent, independent and the moderator variable. Now talking about the measurement scale. Measurement scales are very important to understand, because if we are knowing the measurement scales, only then we would be able to finalize that which particular statistical tool we need to adopt to test our data. So firstly, we are going to understand the measurement scales, and then we will move for the understanding of the SPSS and other things. So I think, for example, if I can say in the real world, if suppose I want to go to the market and suppose I have to buy, say for example, I need to buy the milk. So can anyone tell me what would be the unit of the milk if I want to buy? What I need to say? How much milk if I want to say I need this much of the milk? So can anyone tell me what would be the unit?
Liters.
Yes,
Liters.
yes. Very good, ma'am. Thank you. So I think it is very well known. Means if I want to buy some liquid, I will generally use, I need this much liter of this particular thing I want to avail. Similarly, if I'm going market, if I want to buy the vegetables, I can say I need to buy the vegetables either in the quantity, means dozen, might be possible some of the, for example, if I say fruits, banana is coming in the dozens form. Similarly, if I want to buy the tomato, I need to say I need 1 kg of the tomatoes, and likewise. Similarly, when we are coming to the research, in research, we need to also know how we can measure our variables, because in research, we are dealing with the variables. And in socio, or what I can say in the social sciences, because I am belonging to the management field and there are various other fields come under the social science. So according to the social science, you need to be very much clear that on what particular measurement scale you have measured your variable. So that means to understand the measurement scale of your variable, you need to have certain scales, and they will be introduced in the form of the two things, that is the categorical scales and the continuous scale. The other name of categorical scale is discrete scale. Similarly, continuous scale is known as metric scale. Then further we can bifurcate categorical scale into two categories, nominal and the ordinal. Similarly, continuous scale can be classified into two categories, interval and ratio. Maybe most of you have studied these scale, so maybe you need to only listen to me, because in SPSS, if you have ever seen the SPSS, you are knowing you need to define your measurement, you need to define the measurement scale of your variable. So for the sake of that, I have taken this particular thing here. So now one by one, I'll try to explain you all 4 scales, and then we will see further. So the very first scale, this is the nominal scale. So nominal scale meaning is generally we are using for the categorization purpose or identification purpose. Say for example, if I say I have taken the demographic variable and one of the demographic variables is gender. So I think it is very well known. Generally we are taking two categories, male and female. And again, if I want to go to the SPSS and I want to enter this gender variable in the SPSS, I can write male and female. But with the help of male and female, I cannot perform anything in the SPSS. As I said, SPSS is a quantitative type of software. So that means what I need to do? I need to convert these male and female into certain numbers. So say for example, I have given 1 to male category and 2 to female category. So that way I have done the coding of my data 1 and 2. But here you need to be very much careful, because 1 and 2 is only for the identification purpose, for the categorization purpose, and not for the calculation purpose. That means if I want to find the mean of this gender variable, and if suppose I have done that also, because softwares are here to give you the values, they do not have their brain. We human being have our brain. We need to understand this thing, that if I'm taking the mean value of the gender, and of course if I will calculate that mean, SPSS will give me that, but it is not correct. Because if suppose I'm getting the mean value as 1.5, so what 1.5 is representing here? Nothing. So it is very well known to us that only 1 and 2 are representing the two things. 1 is for male, 2 is for the female. So nominal scale is only here we are using for the categorization purpose and not for anything else. So suppose some examples I have taken here. For example, if I'm telling you, suppose I have two categories of, for example, I have in my data set, I have taken height of any particular person. If I want to take a height as a demographic variable, and I have written there small, or short heighted and tall heighted. So short and tall is what? Can anyone tell me? These are the two categories. Means I am only categorizing the people on the basis of their height. These are the short people and these are the tall people. So that way, if I'm giving 1 and 2, so that is the only meaning I am saying. These are, 1 is indicating the small people and 2 is indicating the short people. So that way, this is known as the nominal scale. Now talking about the next scale, ordinal scale. From the name itself, it is very clear. Ordinal means there would be certain order. Although the ordinal scale will have the characteristics of the nominal scale also. Means the ordinal scale would be generally categorize the categories of the variable, and along with that there would be certain order also. The very easy example you can see here, the height. If suppose I am asking the people short heighted, medium heighted and tall heighted, so it is the meaning that I can say these people are the short people, these are the medium people, and these are the tall people. Along with that, there is certain order also. I can arrange these categories short, medium and tall in the descending or in the ascending order. Say for example, short people, medium people and tall, or tall, medium and short. Means any kind of arrangement or ordering I can do with the help of ordering or ordinal scale variable. Some more examples you can see here: socioeconomic status, age, blood glucose level is also can be the certain examples of the ordinal scale. But remember, if we have taken these categories only, then that would be the ordinal scale. Suppose I am asking the height, and it is an open-ended question I am asking in my questionnaire. So in that case, suppose people is writing 138 inch. So that way 138 would not be the ordinal scale variable. In that case it would be converted into the ratio scale. So you need to be very much careful while giving the options, and also whatever options you are giving, you need to have the clarity that that variable you are measuring on which particular scale. So this is the second scale. The third scale is the interval scale. So again, interval scale will have the features of the nominal scale and the ordinal scale, and also it has its own feature, that is it has the equal distance between the options or between the categories. Say for example, the best example generally we have studied in the books also, generally it is the temperature. Say for example, if I say 10 degree Fahrenheit and 15 degree Fahrenheit, so difference is 5 degree Fahrenheit. Similarly, 35 degree Fahrenheit and 40 degree Fahrenheit. So again, the difference is what? It is 5 degree Fahrenheit. Means there would be the equal distance between the options. But the lacking of this particular scale is that it do not have the absolute zero. It does not have the absolute zero. This is the drawback of the interval scale, because I think we have heard this thing, 0 degree Fahrenheit, or I can say 0 degree Celsius. So that means still the characteristics of the variable is available, and variable is what? It is the temperature. So if I say 0 degree Celsius, still I can feel certain temperature, or I can say I can feel the cold. So that way I can say that 0 is not the absolute 0, it is the arbitrary 0. So that is why it is the best example generally used to define the interval scale. But in social science, we can say if we want to measure the attitude. Say for example, if I want to measure the attitude of the consumers, if I want to see the employees motivation level, if I want to see the students intelligence level, so that way I can say these are nothing but these are the interval scale variables. So this is, you need to understand here. The last scale is the ratio scale. So again, it has the quality of the remaining 3 scales, and also it has its own quality, that is, it has the absolute 0 available. Means it is, what I can say, it is overcoming the drawback of the interval scale, and it has its own absolute 0. Means in this scale, absolute 0 would be available. Say for example, blood glucose level. Similarly, I can say income. I think in social sciences, I can say example can be the best example can be the income. Income means if I can say if I have found a person whose income is 0, so that means actually the person's income is 0. So that way I can say income is the ratio scale variable. So this way, these are the 4 skills we have seen. Now I am summarizing all the 4 skills in the table. You can see here all the 4 skills are mentioned, and these are the features here. So if I say identification or the categorization of the variable, so all the 4 skills can do this. Similarly, if I want to say the magnitude or if I want to say the order, so except nominal scale, in the remaining 3 skills, I can do that. Similarly, if I want to say the equal differences in the options, so I can say last 2 skills can do that, that is the interval and ratio. And talking about the absolute 0, so that is the ratio scale is the only scale which has the absolute 0. So that way, these are the 4 scales. You need to must understand on what scales you have measured your variable. Only then you can decide which particular or appropriate statistical tool we can adopt here. Now, when we will go for the data analysis, I think till now you would be very much clear here. When we have the defined objectives, when we have identified our variables, when we have stated our hypothesis, we will go for the questionnaire framing or the instrument designing, and then we will go for the data collection. And after collecting the data, we will go for the data analysis part. Now, again, this is the base for your upcoming days. So please, if anyone wants to note these things, please make a note on these things, because these will help us a lot in the upcoming sessions. So if I have stated my hypothesis in the difference type, means if I am writing there is no significant difference between dependent and independent variables. Say for example, this is my hypothesis. So which type of test I can adopt here? I can adopt t-test, ANOVA, MANOVA, or Mann-Whitney U-test type of test I can adopt according to the variables. Talking about next, relationship, means if I want to say there is no relationship between 2 variables, so the test which I can adopt, they can be the Pearson's, Spearman rank, point biserial, and the chi-square test I can adopt to test the hypothesis. Now, prediction means if I say there is no significant impact of one variable on other, so in that case, we can go for the regression. Regression has different types like linear regression, ordinal regression, multinomial regression. So according to the variable which we are dealing, we can select the appropriate regression tool to test the hypothesis. So again, I'm repeating, if we have the difference term we have used in our hypothesis, so these are the tests available which we can use. If we are using the relationship word, if we want to see the relationship between 2 variables, so we can go with these particular tool. If we want to predict one variable on the basis of the other variable or variables, we can go with the regression. So I think, may I clear on this? Till now, am I clear or not? Please, anyone confirm me? Am I clear or not?
Ma'am, clear.
Yes, ma'am.
Clear, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Any?
ma'am. Absolutely clear.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, ma'am. So now I'm proceeding with this. Now, I think you people have heard about the parametric test and the non-parametric test. So for the parametric test, firstly, you need to know any test you are adopting to analyze or to test your hypothesis. They all have their own assumptions. In upcoming days, when I'm going to discuss the different tests, I'll show you the assumptions also. We will test the assumptions also, and then we will see which test we need to apply on. So here, if I say parametric tests are those tests which have the or which are following the normal distribution. Means if your variable is following the normal distribution, then generally we are going for the parametric test. And these tests we can classify as correlation, regression, t-test, ANOVA, etc. Non-parametric tests are the distribution-free tests. They do not bother about the distribution of our data. So in such case, we can go for the chi-square test, Spearman's rank test, or Wilcoxon test, etc. We can adopt. So according to the distribution, means whether our data is normally distributed or not, whether we have the outliers in our data or not, whether we have missing values in our data or not. So these are the certain basic and common assumptions which we have to generally see before applying any particular test on the data. And according to the assumptions, we will decide upon which test we are going to apply on the data we have collected. Now, how to choose statistical tests? So the criteria for selecting the statistical tests or tools are, firstly, we need to know the research design. We need to know the number of variables available to us. We need to know the measurement scale of our variables. We need to know the distribution of our variables. So research design meaning is whether we are going with the paired research design or unpaired research design. Second, number of variables available to us, 1, 2 or more than 2 variables we have available to us. Measurement scale, I have already discussed on what measurement scale we are going to measure our variables. And lastly, whether the distribution we are looking, normal distribution or distribution is maybe some other F distribution or T distribution, that is non-normal distribution, I can say. So that way, on the basis of these answers, means on the basis of these questions, you need to ask first, and then you need to decide upon which statistical test you are going to apply on your data. Now, talking about the presentation of the data. So if we want to present our data, so for presenting of our data, we can use two things, table or graphs. Table means frequency distribution table we can draw for our variables. If we want to go for the graph, so according to the nature of the variable, means if we have measured our variable on nominal scale or on ordinal scale, if we have measured our variable on these two scales, we will go with the bar graph or pie chart. But if we have measured our variable on interval scale or on ratio scale, then we will go for the histogram or polygon. So that way, even for graph and charts also, you need to be very much particular about the measurement scales. Now, next one is the descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics, can anyone tell me, are you knowing about the descriptive statistics? Can anyone?
So, ma'am, is it mean, median, mode,
Yeah.
maximum, minimum values that simply describe our variables,
Yes,
right?
very good, ma'am, very correct. So means if we want to summarize our data, for the summarizing purpose, of our data, we are generally using the descriptive statistics. So in this category, we need to see the mean value, that is the central of tendency we need to check, or we need to see the variability. So again, for central tendency, you need to check the scale of measurement. If you are measuring your variable on nominal scale, so in that way you will calculate mode. If you are measuring your variable on ordinal scale, you will calculate median. If you are calculating your variable on interval scale or ratio scale, so you need to check whether your variable is a skewed variable, whether your variable is open-ended or undetermined score it has. According to these questions, if answer comes no, you will go for the mean. If answer comes yes, you will go for the median. Similarly, for variability also, you need to check the central tendency you have applied. If you are calculating mode, and your variable is on nominal scale, so you will go for nothing. Means for mode, for your variable, if you have calculated the mode, you will not calculate any of the measures of dispersion. If you have calculated mode but your variable is not on nominal scale, means maybe it would be on the ordinal scale, might be. So in that case, you can go for the semi-interquartile range or range. Similarly, if you have calculated median for your variable, you will go for the semi-interquartile range or range. Lastly, if you have calculated mean for your variable, you will go for the standard deviation. Now, this is the table, or this is the diagram which is showing you for the parametric test, means how I can decide upon the parametric test. These are the different things available to us. On the basis of that, we will decide the parametric test. Firstly, how many separate samples available to us? If I have only one sample, then you need to see how many scores of each subject I have taken. If I have taken only one score, and if sigma, that is the standard deviation, is known to me, if yes, we will go for the Z test. If it is not known to me, I'll go for simply the simple single sample t test, that is the one sample t test. Similarly, if I have one variable and I have collected the score for each, two score for each subject, in that case, I'll go for the paired sample t test. If I have collected more than 2 scores for each subject, I'll go for the repeated measures ANOVA. Similarly, if I have two different samples and they are matched or independent samples, so I need to decide here. If I have two samples and both the samples are matched, in that case, I'll go for the paired sample t test. If both the samples are independent, I'll go for the independent measures or independent samples t test. Similarly, if I have more than 2 samples available to me, again I need to decide upon matched and independent. So if I have more than 2 samples available to me and both are matched, or all the samples available to me are the matched, then in that case we will go for the repeated measures ANOVA. Similarly, if I have more than 2 samples which are independent in nature, so in that case, if I need to check how many independent variables I have in such case. If one variable I have independent, I'll go for the one-way ANOVA. If I have 2 independent variable, I'll go for the two-way ANOVA. So in upcoming days, we will see all these things one by one.
Excuse me.
Yes, ma'am.
May I know what does it mean that matched? Is that indicated?
Ma'am, it's like paired. It's like a paired. Maybe you have heard about the paired test, paired t-test. Have you heard about?
Yes, ma'am.
So say for example, if I am saying I have taken the performance of the employees before giving them training, right? I have 10 employees and I have measured their performance before giving them training. Is it clear?
Okay.
Then again, what I did, I have given all the 10 employees the training, and after some time, again I have measured their performance. So you mean to understand here that the sample is same, and I have taken the observation 2 times. First before giving the training and second after giving the training. So that way it is known as matched. Means for same sample I have collected data 2 times. Is it clear, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Similar-
also can you give us examples of where, in which study it can we use those tests?
I think, ma'am, in upcoming days, I'm going to take certain simple examples and then I'll discuss. Is it okay?
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you.
So just to clarify that for the same sample, if we are doing a
Hello. Ma'am, you are not audible to me. Hello. Am I audible, Ankita, ma'am?
Yes, you are audible, but
sorry, there was some
answer the question.
yes, there was some issue at my end. I'm extremely
Yeah.
sorry. So I'll just quickly sum up that, ma'am. When we talk about match sample, means the sample is the same. We are doing a pre-post study.
Right.
While when we see difference, it is like gender, like male, female,
Male,
or
female. That
different
is
age group.
independent. Yeah, that
So-
is independent.
Got it, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah, most welcome, ma'am. Similarly, this is the table of non-parametric tests. Again, according to how many separate groups we have, 1, 2, 3, whether in each group, how many scores we have taken for, if we have one group, I have taken a score one time, according to the categories of that particular or the measurement categories of that particular variable, I'll decide upon whether I'll go for the chi-square test or binomial t-test. So means this table, I think according to our, what I say, according to the planning of this particular FDP, we need to only focus upon the, I think one non-parametric test, that is the chi-square test, right? So in that, I think probably on the third day, I'm going to discuss chi-square test. So that's why I'm not going to discuss the remaining thing here, because unnecessary they will maybe give you some or not give you some proper clarity. So that's why I'm not discussing this slide. I'm skipping this. If in future we are organizing some other workshop, so I think I'll discuss with the non-parametric test in the next or in upcoming workshops. Now, similarly, the relationship test, again, as I said, I have already showed you what type of test we can perform in the relationship category. Generally, we are going with the, Karl-Pearson's correlation of coefficient test we are generally performing, and Spearman's rank test we are generally performing. So according to nature of the variable, you need to very much clear here, that is, if you are measuring your variable on the interval scale or on the ratio scale, in that case we are going for the Pearson's correlation, or if we are measuring our variable on the ordinal scale, then in that case we will go for the Spearman's rank test. Similarly, different questions comes. Suppose if we have measured our variable on nominal scale, so in that case the phi coefficient we can generally apply to find the relationship type of or to test the relationship type of hypothesis. So this is the summary of this particular slide. Now I'm summarizing that how we are deciding upon the statistical test. The question is, you need to know how many independent variables you have. So the first question you need to see means, in a hypothesis, how many variables you have written, whether you have two variables or more than two variables. Second, you need to understand on what particular measurement scale you have measured your independent variable. Similarly, on what particular scale you have measured your dependent variable. Then you need to know that whatever observations you have, whether they are the dependent or independent. So again, as the one of the mem said, dependent and meaning of the meaning of matched and independent meaning is that, I can say matched meaning is what? It is the dependent. Means if I have collected the score of the same for the same sample twice or more than 2 times, in that case it is known as the dependent. Or I can say if I have taken the socio-economic status of the students, so that way it would be known as the independent. Similarly, you need to know, I request please, yeah, thank you so much ma'am or sir. Then we need to see the comparisons involved between the population and population, or we want to compare the sample and population, or whether we want to compare the two samples. So this is also quite important to understand which type of comparison we are going to make, whether we want to comparing two population or one population and sample, or two samples. And lastly, you need to see which type of hypothesis we have framed, whether we have framed the comparative type of hypothesis or we have framed the relationship type of hypothesis. So on the basis of answers of these questions, we would be in an exact situation to find the appropriate tool for our formulated hypothesis and collected data. Now, the what I can say, the main point of this particular session, that is SPSS. So I think everyone knows about the SPSS, that SPSS stands for Statistical Package for the Social Sciences. Initially, it was launched by the SPSS Incorporation in the year 1968. But after 2009, it is now the baby of IBM, that IBM have acquired from the SPSS Incorporation in the year of 2009. and now it is known as IBM SPSS. So SPSS is generally used for by the researchers and academicians and even some industry persons also to understand or to apply the complex statistical tool on the data collected. So generally it is for the quantitative package used by the researchers and the academicians. Now the processes which we are performing in SPSS, you can see with the help of this triangle, there are 4 processes we can apply on the data with the help of SPSS. The very first one is the checking of the data. Checking of the data meaning is with the help of frequency distribution and with the help of sorting of the data. These 2 things are available in the analyze menu of the SPSS, and it is available in the data menu of the SPSS. So with the help of these 2, we can check our data whether there is any missing value available in the data, or there is some any what I can say might be possible we have entered the wrong data. Sometimes there is some typographical error also. So with the help of running frequency distribution and doing short casing, we can understand or we can check our data. Now make changes. If I want to make any changes in my data, so what I can do, or I can say what kind of changes are there in the data, which we can see that the data entry error. Data entry error means while entering the data, at the time of entering the data, might be possible we have made any particular error in the data that we can correct here. Second, we can see the interpretation error. Interpretation error meaning is, suppose in the questionnaire we have given any particular question which is having some other meaning also. So in that case, maybe the respondent have not understood that particular thing and they have given you the wrong answer. So in that case, that with the help of approaching those respondent again, we can clarify them those things and we can rectify those changes in the SPSS. Now, misunderstood by the respondent, maybe there is some technical word available which has some another meaning and they are not understanding the meaning of that particular word. So in that case also, you need to understand, or you need to go to the respondents, or you need to approach those respondents. You need to make certain changes, and that way you can incorporate those changes again in the SPSS so that you would be able to get the correct data, or so that you would be able to get the correct results. Next one is the recording of the data. Recording of the data, today I'll tell you how we can do the recording. So with the help of transform menu, we can record the data either into the same variable or into the different variable. And lastly, we can do the analysis of the data. So for the analysis of the data, there is an analyze menu available. In that, all the parametric, non-parametric tests are available. According to our need, we can select the specific tool. Now the variable view, I think you are knowing that the view of the SPSS is more like the Excel. But here in Excel, as you know, we can insert so many worksheets. But here in this SPSS, we have only 2 views available. They are the data view and the variable view. Once we are entering the data in the variable view, so as you can see, these are the certain columns. On those, you need to define your variable. And after entering those variables, the reflection of those variables, we can see here in the data view. Means whatever name you have defined, they would become the column heading in the data view, and that way we can enter our data here. Either we can manually enter the data or we can import the data in the data view. Now talking about the output window. So this is the output window. Once we are performing any of the frequency distribution, or we have performed any of the statistical tests, after running that test, SPSS will lend you to the next or the new window. It is known as the output window, and that way this is nothing but this would be give you the results whatever we have applied on the data. Now there are certain basic rules we need to keep in our mind while defining our variables. So I think to define our variable, may I go to the SPSS directly now. We can go for the practical. Is it? Can anyone confirm me? Yes. Yeah. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. So this is the SPSS. I hope the window is clearly visible to everyone.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, ma'am. So here you can see at the left lower corner, there are 2 views. Data view, I am rotating my cursor here. It would be visible to everyone. This is the data view, and second one is the variable view. The yellow is showing that the data view is activated presently. When I'll click on the variable view, I will be landed to the variable view. I hope variable view is visible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So here you can see, if suppose I want to write here the name of my variable and I'm writing suppose one name. As you can see what I have written, one name. Now when I'm pressing tab from my keyboard, you can see one warning is coming from the SPSS and it is showing me variable name contains an illegal first character. Is it quite visible, I think, to everyone? Is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So that means what it is telling to us, it is telling to us I cannot define my variable name with the help of any number, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So if suppose I want to write, then suppose I'm trying this name 1. Now I'm pressing tab. So see, nothing error or warning coming from the SPSS. That means if I want to use number in my variable name, that I can use, but I cannot initiate variable name with the help of number. This is the first basic rule, right? Similarly, if suppose I want to keep some special character, suppose at the rate I'm keeping, and I'm keeping my variable name as age. See, I can use at the rate as a prefix of any particular variable name, right? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
yeah. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, if suppose I am saying I am writing name of student. See, now what I did, I have not given. I have given the space between the two words, right? Now again I am pressing tab. Again, error is coming. It is saying variable name contains an illegal character. Meaning of this is what? That means I cannot.
Ma'am, there is some kind of error of the noise.
Okay. No issues. I am
But
waiting.
if Bishnoy, please off your mic.
I think you are talking about mic of someone.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So I request, please keep your mic off. Participants, please keep your mic off so that we would be able to understand. I think it's
Yes,
okay.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Now you may start. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Now I have written name of the student. So you can see what I did. I have kept the space between the two words of the variable name. Now I'm pressing tab. So when I have pressed tab here, you can see it is showing me variable name contains an illegal character. Is it right? That means I cannot keep the space between the two words of any variable name. So for that, what I can what I can do, I can use the underscore. See, name underscore of underscore students. Now I'm pressing tab. See, it is created. It is not giving me any error. Is it okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Similarly, suppose I am writing gender of student. Again, you can see what I did. I have kept here the period sign to show the gap between the two words, and that way also SPSS is not giving me any warning or error, right? So that means if I want to write more than, or if I want to define my variable in more than one words, what I need to do, I need to either use underscore sign or either I need to use period sign. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So that way, these are the some of the basic rules which I have told you. Now I'm talking about these different columns in which you need to define your variable. So I am moving for the first thing. You can see here name of the variable. You can see the type of variable is what? It is numeric. Can name be the numeric variable? I
No.
think, yeah, of course not.
No,
Right.
ma'am.
Yeah, right. So that means what I did, I came to this particular cell. When I have came to this particular cell, you can see 3 dots are coming here in this particular box. Hexagon. I think this is quite visible
Yes,
to
ma'am.
everyone.
Yes,
So I
ma'am.
need to, yeah. So I need to click on this. Once I will click on this, the variable type is coming here. and it is showing me all the ranges of variable type available in SPSS: numeric, comma, dot, scientific notations, date, dollar, custom currency, string, restricted, numerical. So if I have asked from the respondent for their name, and if suppose I want to use or enter the name of the party respondents in the SPSS also, and that is suppose I have defined my variable. So in that case, in what type of variable type I can define here? It would be a string. Yeah. So I have selected a string and I have pressed OK. So this way means with the help of this small box, these three dots, you can define on what particular type of or what particular type of variable you want to keep in the SPSS. Although again, I will repeat the same thing, that SPSS is a quantitative package, and we are, if to apply any statistic, and again one more thing, because if we want to apply statistical tool, so statistics can deal with the number only. So if suppose you have any variable which is available in any particular category type of things or in any particular qualitative term, so you need to code that if you want to analyze that particular thing with the help of SPSS or with the help of statistics, right? So name, it is quite clear that we do not want to apply any kind of tool on name. So that's why you can keep it as a string. Now, talking about the second variable, age. So I think age can be a numeric variable, right? There is no problem with that. Is it right? Yeah. Similarly, I think this is the repeated variable. I'm deleting it. How I can delete it? I have selected it like this and press right click. I have done the right click and clear. Okay. So that way I have cleared it. I think I'll request the participants, please keep yourself on mute mode. Now talking about the gender. Gender is a numeric variable. So what I need to keep it here? Numeric or string?
String.
String. Okay.
String.
Numeric is also possible.
Numeric is also possible. Okay, so okay, I'm taking one example here, and after that you will tell me whether I need to go with the numeric or string. Suppose my hypothesis is, now I'm giving you one hypothesis, so please listen it carefully, and I'm also telling you what type of test I'm applying. On the basis of that, please tell me I need to keep this gender as numeric or string. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the hypothesis. Suppose my hypothesis is, there is no significant difference in the marks of male and female students. So now can anyone tell me, for this hypothesis, gender would be numeric or string?
Numeric.
Numeric. Why? Can anyone identify whether in this particular hypothesis 2 variables are available or 3 or 1?
One variable.
One variable. Just a minute, ma'am. I think the sir who said one variable. Can sir please tell me? You please tell me which one variable we have in this hypothesis.
Please, ma'am, repeat ma'am's hypothesis again.
Sorry. Do I need to repeat it again? Okay, I'm repeating. There is no significant difference in the marks of male and female students.
There are 2 variables. We have to define them like the 1 is equal to male and 2 is equal to female, like that in the labels and value.
In the labels and value. Okay.
Marks is the main.
Okay. Okay. So I'm telling you, I think it will take our time. I think you people are knowing it. Some of you have given answers also. So I can tell you there are 2 variables. One variable is marks. Okay. Second variable is gender. Here I am comparing. Here I want to check whether there is a difference in the marks of male and female students. So it is quite clear. We have 2 variables, marks, and second variable is gender, right? Okay. Everyone?
Yes.
Yeah. So 2 variables we have. Now, as I said, marks, it's quite obvious that marks would be a numeric variable because we will get marks in terms of certain number. Question comes, whether we need to keep gender as numeric or as a string. So again, I'm coming to the
Numeric.
yes, very correct. So I say, again, I'm repeating it. Why I'm keeping gender as numeric? Because once I am coming to the statistics, again, I'm repeating my line that statistics can deal with only the quantities. It cannot deal with the qualities or qualitative terms. So that way, if I'm keeping gender as male and female, and if I'm going to analyze and performing the t-test on that, the SPSS will give you the warning, will give you the error message, because one of our variable is on the qualitative terms. So that way it will not perform any test. So the SPSS is designed like that way. It is understanding on what thing you have, or what variable, or on what particular scale you have measured your variable, what type of coding you have done. Accordingly, it will give you the results. So if I am entering my data, if suppose I am coming to the data view, and if suppose I am writing here male, see, if I have written here male, what it did, I think one sound you have heard, right? You have listened one sound here came. It is like when I'm writing female and I'm going to the next cell. Again, one sound came. Everyone have heard?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any one of you are using
No, ma'am.
SPSS along with me? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, sir, if you are
Yes, ma'am.
using
No.
and you have taken gender variable, you have defined your gender variable as numeric. So, come to the data view and please type anything, male or female, and go to, with the help of any arrow key, go to the next cell.
It is a string, so it will not take. So we have to define
Yeah.
as numbers only.
Yes, yes, very good, ma'am. So I think you got the answer. That way, I have taken gender as a numeric. Now I can come to the data view and I can write here 1, 2, 3. It is not giving me any error, right? Got my point?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, thank you so much. So that way, this is the type. Coming to the width, by default, it is 8. If you want to make changes in it, you can do it. Decimal point is by default for string variable, it would be 0. For numeric, by default, it is 2. If you want to make it 0, you can just click here with the arrow key. It will become 0. If you want to increase the size or the decimal points, you can do with the upper arrow, or with the lower arrow, you can decrease it to the 0, like this. Now, as I said, in the defining of the name, or the first column of the variable, that is name variable, there are certain restrictions. We cannot keep the space between the variable names and something. So that way, label is provided by the SPSS. If we want to describe our variable here, so with the help of this label column, we can do that. With the help of, suppose if I'm writing here name of the student. See, I'm going to with the help of tab, I have shifted to the next cell and no error came to me. So that way, with the help of label, properly you can define your variable. So in the future, if you are referring the same file with the help of variable name, if it is not clicking to you, with the help of label, you can understand what is exactly the meaning of your variable name. So that's why we are using this label column here. I hope till here am I clear to everyone? I am clear?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Now coming to the values. Here you can see in the values, again, when I have clicked on this none, 3 dots are looking or coming to me. When I will click on this, you can see the value label box will come. But this is for the name variable, so I am closing it. I am coming here for the gender. And I'm clicking on these 3 dots. You can see, suppose I have written 1. I'm defining the label as, suppose, male. I'm pressing add. Now I'm defining 2 and I'm writing female and adding it. And I have to only press OK. That way, 1 and 2 is defined here. So this is also for the future purpose, that what is the meaning of 1, what is the meaning of 2. That way, with the help of this value column, you can understand what is the meaning of 1, 2, or suppose 3, 4, 5, some other categories also, that would be help you to understand in the future. Now going to the missing values. So there are 2 types of missing values. Yes, sir.
In the value column for edge, what should be?
Sorry, sir. Will you please repeat?
In the values column for edge, what would be the value?
Edge. Achha, for age. Okay. So up to you. For example, if we have taken age, might be possible many a times if you have filled the questionnaire, you have seen people are asking age in the interval form. Suppose 25 to 35, 36 to 45, likewise. Maybe you have seen. So if suppose I am writing value 1 and I have defined here 25 to 35. Like this, I have added this. I have written second and I am writing it here as 36 to 45. Added 3.
Okay, got ma'am.
Got it, sir? Okay. Like this. And then press OK. Similarly, if you want to remove anything, you can again press that. Suppose I'm selecting this 3. You can see remove button is now activated. So if I want to remove it, I can press on remove. So that way this would be removed. So it is up to us what type of changes we want to make here. Now coming to the next, missing column. It is very important to understand that in SPSS there are 2 types of missing values: system missing value and the user defined missing value. So this missing value is what? This is the user defined missing value. User defined missing value means here we can define what type of value I want to remove from the analysis. Say for example, I am coming to this age. I am selecting this 3. I'm clicking on 3 dots. You can see when I have clicked on 3 dots, one small dialog box is coming in front of us. The first one is saying no missing values, means by default nothing is the missing value as per the SPSS. But if I want to keep certain missing values here from my data set, so suppose second one is the discrete missing value. So here you need to write upon what type of age you want to remove from the analysis. If suppose you do not, as you can see, firstly you need to see that we have entered the age here in the interval form. So that means discrete would not be the appropriate what I can say button. I need to go to the range, right? Now suppose I'm writing here 25 and high suppose 35, means that meaning of this is what means whatever persons whose age is in between 25 to 35, they would not be included in the analysis, because I'm defining them as a missing value and these are the user defined missing value. I am giving SPSS instruction, please remove these value from 25 years to 35 years from my data set. I do not want to consider them for my any particular hypothesis testing. So this way you can define, this is known as user defined missing values. So I think, am I clear on this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Now coming to the column. Yeah, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Now coming to the column, you can see column is what? Column is only for the beautification purpose. Firstly, I'm coming here. You can see this is the width of this particular, or all the columns is fixed. This is the 8. Now if I am increasing this, now coming to this, you can see the width is changed now. So this is only for the beautification purpose. Even you can use these like this stretch. You can stretch your column like this also, and the impact of that you can see here. The size or the column size has changed now. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
yeah, thank you, ma'am. So now the alignment, I think it is very well known. We all are working in the Word documents. We all are working in the Excel, etc. So you are knowing alignment is left, right, and right. Or you can click on this 3 types of alignments is available: left, right, and center. According to your need, you can make the changes. So these are only for the beautification purpose. Now the important one is measurement, as we have just discussed. So in SPSS, we have discussed total 4 types of scale, right? I think everyone is remembering. We have discussed 4 types of scale.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Nominal,
ma'am.
yeah,
Yes,
nominal,
ma'am.
or yeah, nominal, ordinal, interval, and ratio. But here in SPSS, we have only 3 types of scale available. You can see nominal, categorization purpose. You can see set type of things are looking here. This is the nominal. Ordinal, you can see here the graph, bar graph is looking, because there would be certain order, and scale, the scale is looking here. So meaning 2 scales are merged here under this scale. Which 2 scales? Interval and ratio are considered as scale. So if you are measuring a variable on interval scale or on ratio scale, you need to define here as scale. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes,
I think, okay, thank you everyone. So I think you can see here that the gender is a nominal scale variable that you can set. Similarly, age, generally it is known as the what I can say, it's a ratio scale variable. But if if I'm saying is a ratio scale, that means will come under the scale, because we are taking 25 to 35. That means if a particular person age is 29 and 29 years and 6 months, that will also considered as a ratio scale variable, and it will come under this scale. So that way you need to very much clear about the scales of your variable. Now I'm going to the next file and I'll show you the recording of the data. I have opened one more file here. And can anyone confirm me the data is visible to you or not?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Visible.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you. Yeah. So here you can see I have 3 columns: T, income, and gender. Now, if suppose I'm clicking on here, you can see that ribbon is visible to everyone, and 1 and A is written here. Would be visible, I think. I'm clicking on this.
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Yeah, I have clicked on this. You can see it is showing me masala, lemon, plain, green, right? That means these are the labels which we have given to the numbers, and these are the numbers, right? Going to the variable view, you can see here I have taken T as a numeric, income and gender also as a numeric variable. Now the values we have defined for the T, it is 1 is indicating the plain tea, 2 is indicating the masala tea, 3 is indicating the green tea, and 4 is indicating the lemon tea. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah. See what I did. Here it was TEAA. I want to make it TEA only. So what I did, I have selected it. Once I have selected it, it is showing us 4 TEA. I have removed A and it is now active, and change button is activated. I am clicking on change and I'm pressing OK. Now how I can, suppose if I want to suppose there is a tea manufacturer and he has categorized the tea into these 4 categories. Now what he want to measure, suppose he want to check whether firstly what he is doing, he is categorizing these 4 tea into the 2 categories. First one is healthy tea and second one is the suppose unhealthy tea. So he is keeping green tea and lemon tea into the healthy tea category, masala and plain tea into the unhealthy tea category. So now what he can do in the SPSS, or with the help of SPSS, what he can do, he can go to the transform menu. So I'm clicking on transform, going to the going to the record into the different variable. Here you can see there are 2 things available: record into the same variables and record into the different variables. So here we will understand firstly the meaning of these 2, and then I'll tell you how we can use that. Record into the same variables means it will what I can say, vanish, or it will completely remove your existing variable, and instead of that variable it will create the new variable if I'm using record into the new same variables. If suppose I'm using the record into the different variables, so that means it will keep your existing variable as it is, and it will create the new variable with the new name. So here I am not diminishing, or I'm not removing my existing variable. So I'm going with the recording into the different variables and clicking on this option. Once I'll click on this, you would be able to see here, it is quite visible, right?
Yes, ma'am, visible.
Yeah. Now what I am doing, I want to record here the T variable. So I am selecting this T and shifting with the help of this box, this arrow into this particular box. I'm clicking on this. Then
Yes, ma'am.
I have to define new labels and name.
yeah, I am giving you here, suppose I am giving the name as T type and I'm pressing change here. Now click on old and new values. I'm coming to this particular, or landed to the next dialog box like this. Now coming to this, suppose old value is 1. What I am doing, I am pressing new value is also 1 and adding it as 1. Now I'm pressing writing here old value is 2 and I'm giving old new value as 1 and adding this. Now I'm writing old value as 3, new value is supposed to, and adding this. Old value is 4, new value is supposed to, and adding this. I think it would be quite clear to everyone what I did. These were the these were the 4 old categories: 1, 2, 3, 4, plain tea, masala tea, lemon, green tea, and lemon tea. What I did, I have coded plain tea and masala tea as category 1, that is the suppose unhealthy tea, and green and lemon tea as 2, that is the healthy tea. Is it clear?
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now I'm pressing.
Ma'am,
yeah.
can you repeat? Ma'am, can you repeat, please?
Yes. I need to reset it. I did. Now I have shifted my variable here.